everyone, I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and I figured today I would do my signs and symptoms video for approximately the first 2 weeks after ovulation. Now, here's a little background story very quickly and briefly. I'm not going to go into much details about it just because that's not what this video is about, but we have been trying now for 13 years. Our very first miscarriage occurred 13 years ago. We ended up getting to 12 weeks and then we ended up miscarrying. All of our other miscarriages, one was 6 weeks, which was our very last one. It was approximately a few months after our wedding. That one happened. We had 2 that happened at 4 weeks and 1 that happened at 3.5 weeks. So we miscarried a total of 5 times thus far. And I think I just said this, I'm not sure. I'm approximately 5.5 weeks here now, just a little over 5 weeks. I have irregular cycles. My cycles can span from having consecutive for so many months and then going months on end without it, or I just go a few months without it, another few months without it, and so on and so on, but I never have it month after month. It's always just spontaneous, random, all over the place. We used to track on a regular basis, doing the ovulation test, writing down everything, doing basal body temperature, tracking all signs and symptoms. I mean, we were checking everything, and then any type of signs and symptoms we were having, we were trying to watch different videos and see if, okay, is this pregnancy or is this just another period that's coming? It was, oh my goodness, completely craziness. All the stuff we were doing in order to try to become pregnant. This go around though, we didn't do any of that. We didn't track ovulation, we didn't check basal body temperature. I wasn't doing nothing, no signs, symptoms checking, no watching videos when after we did, the deed to try and conceive, and you know how you get in that kick then, you're watching all the videos to see if signs are approaching or symptoms, all of that. No, not this time. We were like, let's try to go in this with just enjoying it, because when you do that so often and so many times and for so many years, it becomes almost really draining and exhausting, and it sucks the fun right out of it and becomes more of a job and a chore, because you're like, okay, maybe this month, okay, we gotta track this, okay, these days are the best days, and it's just madness. So this time, this go around, we said, you know what, if it happens, it happens. And we had to also take it upon ourselves to just accept it. If it does happen, that's wonderful, that's amazing, that's great, that's fantastic, that's everything we could have dreamed for. But if it doesn't happen, we also got to a point, both of us did, where we just accepted it, that, okay, that's fine, we have our dogs, we have each other, we have our wonderful home, we have everything else going for us. If that's not in the cards for us, then so be it. It's heartbreaking and it's difficult and challenging, of course, but at the same time, we also had to start accepting it, that, okay, it might not happen. So that was very hard, and it took a long, long time to get there. It's not something that happens overnight or in a week or in a month or a year. It took a long time for us both to mentally get there and prepare ourselves. So when we got this positive test, it was like, wow, because it has been years since I got a positive pregnancy test. It's been since 2019 was my last positive pregnancy test, and that's when I miscarried at 6 weeks. So like I said, I'm at the 5.5 week mark now, so fingers crossed everything goes exceptionally well, and this is it. We both have a really strong, good feeling about this one. So I'm going to start from the beginning. My last cycle had been approximately November 28th. That's when my last period was. I can't remember how many days it was. Like I said, I completely stopped tracking everything because I had the Flow app and everything like that, trying to keep track of just even my periods and ovulation and this, that, and the other thing. But like I said, I got rid of everything the past few months just so we could just take a deep breath and just let it happen if it happens. So we're thinking it's roughly around then, because we were texting back and forth and I was texting him stuff about cramping and period stuff. So there's a high chance it's roughly around that time. We both agreed November 28th is when my last period was. And sorry if this video is TMI, but it is what it is. It's a sign and symptoms video, and I really wanted to make this video to just give those, especially those who have been in the situation we have been and struggling in years and years and years of just like hoping and just putting all your faith in the process, and one day it will happen. I just wanted to just hopefully, if not, I guess maybe it's a bit educational, but I also wanted to be hopefully a little bit inspirational for some people who have been in our situation where you're irregular, you've been struggling for years, and if it's not a negative test, it's a miscarriage. So it's like, but anyway, Yeah, so I had no idea when my last period was. We think it was around November 28th. Christmas Day came and yeah, it was, I guess, a very happy day for many reasons. That's the day the baby would have been conceived, was Christmas Day. So it's a very special day for many reasons, especially if this does go full term. Oh my goodness, not only will Christmas be the day that Winter and Aspen were born and that litter, but it's also going to be the day that the baby was, I guess, born. Well, not like born, but like conceived, born, and going up the fallopian tube situation. So anyway, oh my. That was the day that occurred. So that is the day that we're going by in regards to tracking and things like that. Even when we go to our doctor, we know that's more a reliable date than the period date because it is so sporadic and all over the place. And like I said, we think it was around November 28th, but we're not 100% sure. But anyway, ovulation, this is another thing. I certainly then, if I ended up becoming pregnant, ovulated around that time, but I don't know the exact date. So that's why this 2-week wait thing, the days I can't exactly pinpoint when in the 2-week wait. The time we did the dance and the 25th of December to my very first pregnancy test that I took on the 11th of January. I'm going to do in between there and probably a little bit after that date as well. So after the 25th, the first few days, nothing. I didn't feel any different. I felt the same. I was just myself and everything else. And again, nothing really changed for the first few days. And technically it shouldn't anyway. Sometimes it's a mental game. It's mind over matter. I understand there's a lot of females out there who say that, oh, they knew and they felt it and everything else. By the time that it travels up the fallopian tube and implants and everything, that's going to take a few days. So no, the first few days, I didn't feel a thing. I didn't feel really different. I was just like, meh, okay. Then the 6th arrived. That's when I had bleeding. I'm assuming implantation bleeding. It was brown in color, and that occurred on the 6th. There was nothing there when I went to wipe when using the bathroom. It was just there. I'm sure you know what I'm getting at. It was just, when you look down, it was like, oh, okay, there's brown spotting there. So I thought, okay, my period must be starting. That's what's going on. Because normally it usually happens within 24 hours prior to my period, or I'll have it a week prior. I'll have brown spotting a week prior, and then my period starts the following week. It's weird, it's strange, but it's just something that happens. My body's all kind of messed up. So yeah, that's just what I figured. That's what I thought was happening. And then my mood started to shift. Now, this is something that kind of happens from time to time, not always with my period. My mood does kind of shift. So that happened, but it kind of went overboard. And this was the 6th onward. So from the 6th to the 11th of January, I was just feeling extremely tired. And like I said, very moody. Like, I mean, over the top moody, very dramatic over moody. Like, it was, oh my goodness. And that's when my husband started to joke that, ha ha ha, maybe you're pregnant. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, my time must be coming and I'm just all over the place. But things started to act a little different from the 6th to the 11th in regards to things that never happened during my period. So normally when I have my period, I have pain on my right side. Let me get up so you can actually see. So normally I have pain on my right side here and down here when I'm on my period. I don't normally have pain here or here. This is where it usually occurs when I'm on my period. But from the 6th to the 11th and even onwards at times, I had not pain, but I had like someone going like this and pinching into my stomach, or like going like this to the side of my stomach. It was weird feeling. And I was like, what is going on? So I said, okay, that's weird. I never get pain on that side, especially on this side. I have ovarian torsion, so this is why during my period I end up feeling a bit more pain. But no, it was here. But the reason I took the test, one, my husband was steady at me like, yeah, you're probably pregnant. But the biggest reason was I ended up getting this weird pain across my stomach here. And it was literally very tight. Like someone took my stomach and was going like this around this portion of my stomach. And I just felt so bloated and just like, oh my goodness. It just, like I said, very tight sensation and just stretching across. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll take a test. Maybe he's right. Maybe he's not right. And this is just going to be me going, haha, see, I told you type of moment. See, I'm not pregnant. It's probably my period. But those were the two weirdest symptoms. Now, I was out of breath at times, which has gotten a lot worse. And you probably hear it now as I'm even talking because I'm like, Yes, I was a little bit out of breath during that time, but I wasn't overly bad. I just figured, okay, I haven't been walking as much as what I've been the past few weeks. Maybe it's just me getting tired. That's probably why I'm tired and kind of feeling like blah, and why I'm out of breath is because I'm not going out as much and going on my walks like I normally do, especially with the dogs. Little did I know. Nausea at that time I didn't have between January 6th to the 11th before I took the pregnancy test. There was none of that. I ended up getting very tired very fast as the days went on. It was like kind of tired, a little bit tired, really tired. Oh my goodness, couldn't get out of bed. All I wanted to do was sleep. Me being tired progressed really, really fast during this. And I mean, I got very tired very quickly and hungry, exceptionally hungry. I had a huge plate of every type of breakfast item you could dream of on a plate, and normally I would like pick a little bit here and there. I'll never finish a full plate like that ever. I could never eat that much, but I mean, I ate every single bit of it. I never had no headaches. I didn't have none of that. Dizziness, I never had none of that. I know for some people those are symptoms. The only symptoms I really had after implantation on the 6th, so from the 6th to the 11th before I took the test in January, it was extreme fatigue, that pain I said here, that twinging pain, that weird, whatever this was here. I'm guessing that was like baby saying, I'm here, okay, this is happening. Things are starting to do a little bit of stretching. That weird sensation across my stomach, that real tight sensation, extreme hunger. And that was about it during that time. No nausea at that time. And like I said, I was a little bit short out of breath, but I just thought it was because I wasn't really walking as much. So then January 11th rolled around. I did a video of that. I'll put a link in the description below. I took my first test. I didn't really think nothing of it. I honestly didn't even think the footage was going to be used because I thought it was going to be negative. I was confident it was going to be negative because I didn't really have any major signs in my opinion. And I just did it because my husband kept insisting that I think you are. And I was like, okay, I'll just take it just so he realizes that I'm not. And I'm so grateful and so glad I gave in and I did take the test because my symptoms were very minimal and I was finding reasons for them that it would have been weeks and weeks before I actually probably took another test and said, okay. And then I would have been weeks and weeks without seeing a doctor. So very glad, very grateful he was kind of persistent about the possibility of me being pregnant because I wanted to prove him right. And when he was right, so grateful, so happy he was right. So grateful and so happy I took the test. So January 11th, I took my first test. You can kind of see the line. I don't know if you can see it here. It's sort of visible, sort of not. It's right in my fingers. And I don't wear much nail polish. But there it is there. And that was the first test I decided to take. And I seen the line. I was like, oh my goodness, it's there. I see it. And then I decided to wait until January 12th. So the next day, I decided to take another test. And this is what showed up. A lot darker, a lot more visible. It did take still a little bit of time for it to come up, but it showed up. January 13th, I took this digital one. I'm glad I wrote on it everything, the date and what it said, because the digital ones, they disappear. Now, I must say I'm very impressed with the first response one. The yes stayed on this for a few days. You're not going to see the yes, but yeah, that's what it said. As you can see, yes. It stayed on it for a few days, whereas the Clearview one I took, it only stayed on for 24 hours. But this read yes, and this was taken on January 13th, and that's when I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, I soon have to book my doctor's appointment because like, yeah, this is happening. And that's actually in a few days. So I have my first doctor's appointment for the baby in a few days. Then the next day on January 14th, I took the clear blue digital one and it read 2 to 3 weeks pregnant, which if you're unaware, if the test says 2 to 3 weeks, then you're roughly 4 to 5 weeks pregnant in doctor's terms, in doctor's world. So just so you're aware of that, but that's what this one read. And again, this only stayed on for like 24 hours and then it disappeared. Then January 15th, I took another stick test. The line popped up right away. As soon as I dipped that bad boy in the pee, it was like, hello, I'm here. So there's that one. And then the last one I decided to take was on January 16th. And again, as soon as I dipped the stick, it popped up instantly. There was no waiting. I literally had it starting to go in the pee and I could already see the line appearing. It was that quick. So during the 11th to the 16th, my symptoms pretty much stayed the same. I still had that little twinging, not pain. I hate calling it pain because it wasn't really painful. It was just kind of like there. It was just like twinging type ofness going on this side. I had no cramps, no real pains. Nausea, that's when that started to kick in a bit, and how tired I was getting was on tenfold. My moodiness and stuff like that, that was still occurring, and that was also ramping up a nice bit, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm becoming so mean right now. But I'm sure my husband understood what was going on, like, yeah. But that was pretty much it. Nothing else. But thank you so much for watching. Those were my signs and symptoms of early pregnancy. Like I said, I had very minimal signs. I have my appointment coming up very soon, so I'll do another video on that and how that all went. It's pretty much just me going in and telling the doctor, like, hey, here I am, I took some tests, I'm pregnant, and there's a good chance he's gonna tell me to go get blood work, things like that. But please, when watching these videos, if you don't have these signs or symptoms, like I said, mine are very minimal. If I honestly didn't take a test, I probably wouldn't even say I'm pregnant. I'd just be like, okay, like, and I know there's other people who post videos and they have like symptom after symptom, sign after sign, and it's a big old list. And oh my goodness, I couldn't imagine. And I'm very happy so far. My symptoms and signs have been quite minimal. I can handle the whole tiredness, that okay. I can handle the whole eating a lot, okay. And that now too, once the 16th approached, that was kind of fluctuating too. I still had an appetite. It wasn't like it was during like the 11th, around there, because like I said, I was eating everything in sight. It's after toning down a nice bit, so I'm glad about that. But there was nothing else. There's nothing up here hurting, nothing down here hurting, no leg hurt, no arm hurt, nothing. I'm glad about that. Nothing is hurting. I'm just riding the motions, accepting the fatigue, accepting that, okay, there's sometimes I have a little bit more of an appetite, and just really trying to control my moodiness right now. So I'm not like that. I was even like crying at things I never would have cried at before, and I was getting very angry at things I'd never get angry before. Yeah, it's just, that is a whole different, I don't know. So hopefully that works itself out soon with my hormones. But thank you again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye now, everyone.